you. President Roosevelt once said, "Far better is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those timid spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in the great twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat." Graduates, you have taken the first steps. You have triumphed and you are graduating. So for that, I salute you. I'd like to thank President Holland for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to be part of this celebration in recognition of your achievements. I must say I feel at home here because your colors are the exact same colors as George Mason, my alma mater. So I feel really at home. I must say, everyone here had to jump through a lot of hoops to make me, to arrange for my trip here and make it happen. So with their determination, they made it happen, and I made it here. And I hope that I won't act as a sedative for the rest of the evening for you, and I keep the flow going. But I guess they invited me to share some of my word of wisdom with you and teach you how you can make a boatload of money and then blow it off all on going to space. So let's see, where do I start? First, I want to remind you that for most of you, your real life and in the real world is just about to begin. Yes, real world, because so far on this journey, you've been on the boat, on the spaceship of life in the holodeck area. And you're about to be called to duty and hopefully step into the bridge. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest when you go home, go rent all the episodes of Star Trek and watch them all, because one cannot go through life without lessons from Star Trek. So as you enter real world, let me share a good news and a bad news. First, the good news. The good news is that you made it through. You passed your exams, you finished your papers, turned in your lab work, and you've graduated. The bad news is that half of the stuff you've learned since you started school is already obsolete. The world is changing at an exponential rate, and everything around us is changing faster than ever. And half of the stuff you learned is no longer applicable. So what does it mean? Well, first thing, I would go back and ask for my money from UVU. At least half of it back. And I know they may not invite me back here again. But let me tell you what I mean when I talk about exponential change. Well, let me use an example. In the past, change happened at a local level and in a linear fashion. So that meant that the change and its impact was more predictable and we could plan for it. But with exponential change, that's much more difficult, and it makes it very difficult and unpredictable. So for example, if I were to take 30 linear steps, and I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 30 steps probably would take me to where the camera is back there. But now if I were to take 30 exponential steps, we're talking about 1, 4, 8, 16, and all the way to 1,073,741,824. And that in meters means about 26 orbits around the Earth. Just look around you and see how many things you're using today that you didn't use when you started school. Now go back 5 years or 10 years, and you can start seeing what I mean with exponential change. So what this really means is that you cannot simply rely on what you learned in school. It means that you need to be aware, to be alert, and to be flexible. But more importantly, you need to be imaginative, because the answers you are looking for and you would need are not in any book anymore. You have to figure out the answers and use your imagination, because you no longer can just rely on the information that was given to you. And you cannot predict where things will end up with all the changes happening at the same time. Imagination is the greatest gift we have as humans. We can imagine things that are not. We can imagine places we've never been to, or maybe doesn't even exist. We can design things that never existed before. And a spark of an idea from an inspiring book or an article, or maybe when you see something or you've heard something, maybe my speech here, and boom, there is an idea in your head. And then the magic happens, and a whole world can be created just in your head. Now, let me assure you, I can do that without smoking anything or any hallucinogens. Children have an amazing capability to imagine, and they're open to new ideas and have extraordinary dreams. They are sometimes even ridiculed for the dreams they have, just like I was when I was growing up and told everyone I'm going to be an astronaut and go to space. But as we grow older, we lose that sense of wonder. We become practical adults, and in most cases, give up our dreams, our crazy ideas. Growing up, my mind was filled with a future and possibilities of being a science officer in a Starship Enterprise and flying to every corner of the universe. And I would be traveling through wormholes and exploring strange new worlds and new civilizations, and boldly go where no one has gone before. I dreamed of a future with time machines and parallel universes and teleportation and the United Federation of Planets. And again, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go home, get a bucket of popcorn, sit in front of your TV and watch Star Trek. Anyways, I was fascinated with possibilities. When you are a child, everything is possible. There are no boundaries, and everything is like a puzzle that's waiting to be solved. Every dark corner is an opportunity for discovery. I'm a very lucky person. I've been able to live out my dream. I came here from Iran as a teenager who didn't speak English, and I wanted to be an astronaut. I had my head in the cloud when I was growing up in Iran. And at night, I would go out and look at the night stars and always wonder what could be out there. And I wanted to be an astronaut and fly to space. I even prayed for aliens to come and take me with them. So that would be my ticket out to space. But when I came here in the US, the realities of life put me on a completely different path. I became an engineer, an entrepreneur, and a very successful one. But somehow I didn't feel complete. I think most people in my shoes would have just given up on their so-called crazy idea or dream and stayed in their comfort zone. Instead of taking risk and facing uncertainty, they would have just stayed where they're comfortable and not risk potential failure. But for me, I just wasn't happy, and I had this desire that propelled me to go after this dream I had. And it's all because of this passion that you have that gives you that sense of purpose and direction. You may not know what I'm talking about now, but once you find it, that one thing in your heart that gives you a sense of direction, that makes you perk up when you talk about it, that energizes you whenever you think about it, you would know what I mean. And when you do find it, never let it go. I believe that if you want something bad enough in your heart, that the universe conspires and helps you achieve it. It has happened to me. And for me, a series of fortunate events led me to Star City in Moscow and ultimately to the stars. I got an invitation to go train as a backup in Russia, in the Russian space program. This is now dead of winter, which turned out to be one of the coldest winters in Moscow. Many people in my place would have said, are you crazy, Winter, in Moscow, training in a Russian military facility? Are you out of your mind? But not for me. I was like a kid that has been given the key to the candy store. I couldn't wait to get on a plane and go there and walk the hallways where astronauts and cosmonauts were training, and look at where Yuri Gagarin flew to space from. Look at where Tereshkova prepared, the first woman who went to space, prepared for her historical mission. To me, this was the opportunity of a lifetime, and I would not waste it. So I went, and I trained as if I was getting into that capsule and going to space. After training for 7 months as a backup, just 3 weeks before the flight, I was getting my stuff packed and getting ready to go home, and I got a phone call saying that the primary crew member actually had a medical condition that prevented him from flying, and they told me if I was interested to take his seat. Well, yeah, I know what you're thinking. No, I did not poison him, I promise you. First, when I got the call, I thought they're just playing a practical joke. They knew how, depressed I was, so I didn't believe them. But when they insisted, and I finally believed them, I think I screamed so loud that the guy next to me lost his hearing for the rest of the day. So I went, and I spent 11 glorious days in space. I saw Earth as a beautiful blue ball wrapped in the black velvet of the universe, and I felt its warmth and energy. I saw a sunset and a sunrise every 90 minutes, and I saw billions of stars surrounding us. Let me tell you, there is nothing like it, and it's hard to put it to words. It is a life-changing experience. When you look at Earth from up there, you have a new perspective on life. You can see how insignificant we are compared to the universe, and that even more, you understand how insignificant the things we fight over are, and the things that separate us. From up there, you see one Earth, one planet, one home for all of us. The only thing that separates us is these vast oceans, vast blue oceans. And the only thing keeping us from instant death is this really thin, glowing blue atmosphere that surrounds us. But at the same time, it's an empowering experience. As you see Earth as this small ball in front of you, you feel like, you can do a lot, and all these problems that seem so big shrink in size and become small and manageable. And you feel like you can change the world. From up there, it doesn't seem that it would be that hard. And when I was floating freely in my cocoon, on board the space station, from up there, I saw a world without divisions, just one Earth in this vast universe. From my vantage point, the lines that separate us blurred, and they were not visible anymore. I knew that back on Earth, these lines were very much there, causing all sorts of problems and trouble. I know that very well because I come from a part of this world that experiences that trouble all the time. I made a promise to myself to when I come back to make sure that I remind people about what I saw up there and try to paint that picture for them. And that's what I hope to accomplish here today with you. We live in a unique time. Never before we have been given so much individual power. As humans, we have extraordinary power today to build or to destroy, to grow and seed the universe with our species, or to annihilate, to give life or propagate death. Over centuries, we have mastered skills and technologies that have given us enormous individual power and shrunk time and space between us. But as you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So, as graduates, Use your imagination. Choose life. Break all boundaries and challenge the status quo. Don't be afraid, as fear is death, and a life in fear is a life not lived. There is nothing to be afraid of. Take it from someone who's been down in the gutter all the way to the stars, and from new heights to new lows and back up again, just like in a roller coaster. All you need is a why, because as Nietzsche said, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. So care, give a damn about the earth and everyone on it. Don't take the easy way. Go after your crazy dreams and pave the road. Make a difference in one person's life or in millions. Change the world. Don't let the world change you. You get one chance to live your life, and it goes by faster than you can imagine. Believe me, I'm standing here and it feels like, it's been not too long ago when I was sitting where you guys are sitting. So live it to the fullest without fear. As you go through life, remember that life, it's about the journey itself and not the destination. It is not about the check marks, but about experiences. At the end, I like to leave you with one of my favorite poems. So if you don't remember anything else that I said, and you're not going to watch Star Trek, so at least remember this poem by Karen Raven. Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. And only as much as I dream can I be. So dare to dream, dream big, and always look up and keep shooting for the stars. Thank you and congratulations.